Hang on a minute.
Here we are, folks. It's the end of an era. My goodness, the Diddy trial verdict is in. We've got ex-prosecutor Lionel and Ziggy giving us an authoritative discussion on what happens next. The Mann Act, 10 years per sentence, stack them up to 20 years max. Is that just hullabaloo? Is he going to walk? Lionel is going to fill us in because he predicted this last week.
Well, first of all, Ziggy, the man. The man. How are you? That's for you. That's your Uncle Lionel. Be an adult. Be an adult. Is that you? Did you do that? Was that you? I think I know what you're doing. What are you eating? Lay off that British food. It'll kill you. No fiber. Anyway.
Oh, no. Here we go, Mummy. I'll give you back to Mummy. Thank you. Go for it.
Couple of things here. As I said, racketeering, nothing. And when I say I called it, Shaun, there's no way this could have happened. It's like I'm watching a race, and the person you've got is like a mile back. I'm saying he's not going to win. This wasn't brilliant, but a lot of people, as you know, confused with what they wanted to happen with what happened, and they thought that he's a bad guy. And he's like, well, he's not charged with being a bad guy. If he was charged with arson, I keep using this as an example, he would be found not guilty because there was no fire. You charged him with this. As they said in Jack Reacher, remember, you wanted this. So that's it. Sex trafficking, forced fraud or coercion. Shaun, Cassie made $30 million. She got $10 million from the hotel, right? 20 plus from him. They're talking to each other. There are women lining up. We've been through this. We've been through this week after week with you. And I'm saying the jury's going to listen to this and say, forced fraud or coercion. He had to fight him off with a stick. This isn't for, in fact, it's a travesty when you think of what it really does to demean women who actually have been. Now, Mann Act violation. Now, this is the funny part. The Mann Act, M-A-N-N, is like a centuries-old statute, which is like, you're kidding me, right? I mean, people are thinking, Mann Act? In our country, in order to invoke federal jurisdiction, we have two lines of jurisdiction, state and federal. To go federal, there has to be a federal question, something involving transportation, commerce, interstate trafficking, the mails, the post, wire fraud, something bigger. We don't have a murder statute per se. We have like a violation of civil rights or something. So anyway, Mann Act is this, there's no prostitution per se, but transporting people across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. So Cassie, how does it feel? You're a prostitute. You're a hooah, as we say in New York. Think about that. She and this other Jane Doe, and these, I guess collectively, these male performers or whatever, in order for her to be found, put it this way, guilty, she's a prostitute. So, rephrased, after all is said and done, Diddy, I hope this is sounding okay, by the way, I had to change devices. Diddy is charged of being a pimp. And in the world of negritude and blackness, sorry, I say this with all due respect, and, you know, music or whatever, he's a pimp. He's been adjudicated a pimp. All these other people, Snoop, whatever, he is adjudicated by the federal courts of being a bona fide pimp. He can show people. Now, he also never ratted anybody out. He did his time. He's John Gotti. He's a Teflon Don. Now, what is he looking at? They keep saying 10 years, 10 years. Shaun, that's always maximum. You know this. Every statute, every penalty has a maximum. To give you an idea of whether it's like a first degree felony or what particular category it is, he's not going to do 20 years. He's not going to do 20 years on this. He might do 15, 21 months, maybe less than 2 years, minus credit for time served, about 10 months. He might do less than a year. He might do less than a year maybe on probation, maybe in some kind of community control or halfway house, the judge can take the sentencing guidelines. And the reason why this is important, the statutes years ago, courts didn't like the fact that one judge would sentence somebody to this, somebody would sentence somebody to that. They needed uniformity. So what they did was, oh, there we go. So what they did was they had this crazy kind of a lunacy where they decided that they were going to have a sentencing guidelines um, uh, provision where they look at your name. It looks almost like a game, like a scorecard. I look at your name. I look at prior record, any violence. Were you on probation? What was your status of liberty at the time? Were you on probation? Were you on whatever it is? I add them all up, and then I come up with a score. And that score is a presumptive sentence. And the judge can go above the sentence or below. He can depart from the presumptive sentence if there are aggravating or mitigating circumstances, and if he can articulate them in writing based upon clear and convincing reasons, which means it's up to me. People are going to say 21 months. Now remember, federal judges, they do whatever they want. In our country, we have an expression saying, what are you doing? How come we're making a federal case out of this? Well, that's what federal courts do. They make a case out of stuff that's really not even there. It's where you go to really zap it at people. Think about this. Think about Sammy the Bull, Gotti, all of the commission case, Tony Ducks Corralo. That same kind of statute for this guy, racketeering enterprise. And Shaun, you know about this. I keep saying, because I think from, by virtue of your incredible research in your life, you know that in order to prove racketeering, I just have to prove 2 predicate acts. That's it. The more the merrier. They didn't find nothing.
What about this? The gun with the serial number rubbed off. Wasn't that a predicate act?
Yes. Here's what they should have done. I would have said, go for something simple like that. Have the filing the serial numbers using a silencer, one of these weird things, but nail them. It's better to have a strong, misdemeanor than a weak felony. Go for anything. Get them. Al Capone, the famous Al Capone, what did they get him on? Tax evasion. Doesn't matter what it is. Nail somebody on something. But the thing is, you lock him up. You don't go for these big, grandiose, charges of what have you. So what he did was, think about his cred. Maybe you know more about this, and I am not at all an expert in the world of hip hop or whatever it is, but he is golden. I mean, he is the story of stories. Everybody thought that Diddy was kind of like the wimp. You know what I mean? Like everybody else was tough. Suge Knight's going to park his ass probably forever. I don't know, even know what his sentence is. Everybody else is either killed. You got Tupac, you got Biggie, you got this. He made it. He survived. He gave up nobody. He kept his demeanor. He was doing that namaste. And what they're doing is, a lot of your astute viewers will say, it was an inside deal. He knew it. Inside deal, inside job, my ass. If this guy were Joe Blow, Shaun Attwood versus Sean Diddy Combs, maybe not you because you're a star, but before your stardom, nobody would have brought this up in federal court. Nobody. Now, I also want you to think about this. In the United States alone, there are about 3,000 professional athletes, Major League Baseball, NFL football, and NBA basketball. 3,000. Whenever they travel, there are entourages, bitches, hoes, it's whatever the word is, that claw, that are groupies who want to be a part of this. This is going on forever. Let me throw another one at you. Here's my suggestion, and I'm going to open up my new business. This is what I do to help people. If you're going to be a Diddy, you have everybody sign an NDA, and you say, you are going to be a part of our Freak Off series. I'm recording this. You hereby testify that you're over the age of 18. that you were doing this freely and whatever, and I am going to record this. So my freak-offs become not orgies, but productions protected by the First Amendment. So I have, and he sells them. You can sell them. I can keep them because that's what this was. There is nothing. Not one person called the police. Not one person escaped. Nothing. Now, let me be fair. We've heard of things like the Stockholm syndrome, which is used incorrectly. That's when you identify with your captor. Not that you consent to it, but that you identify. Do you remember in the US a while back, there was this feller, I forget where, but he took these women, like basically kidnapped them, and they were living in his home. He would go to work, come back, they wouldn't leave. They were so consumed by this mental learned helplessness. That happens sometimes. And let me also say something. I am not in any way demeaning, excusing, permitting, disregarding, giving short shrift to whatever particular horrors women went through. That being said, I'm a prosecutor or I'm a defense lawyer, and I'm thinking, I don't care about that. You charge my client with this, and I'm going to create reasonable doubt that he did not commit this. That's all it takes. They had all the charges in the world. Now, I don't know if James Comey's daughter is still a part of this. I do not know why in the name of God they went after him, but he can walk through the room, look at Jay-Z and say, never, remember the line from Raging Bull, you never knocked me down, Ray, never knocked me down. You didn't get a word out of me. All you people, and I'm not suggesting anybody has anything to do with this, but he can say, Clive, nothing. I don't rat. I don't talk. Snitches get stitches. So this guy who was kind of like remember they always made fun. He's not really a gangster. He was from the suburbs. He went to private school. This guy is the baddest ass. He never said a word. Sammy the Bull, everybody flipped. Everybody on these platforms, everybody flipped. All the mob, the supposed mob, the gangster, they all did. Not him. Nothing. He sat there. He was squatting over a stainless steel toilet bowl. They brought. Oh, another thing too is when don't hit me with the same thing too much, because what you're doing is, if I give you a stimulus over and over again, you are going to habituate to it. You are going to not respond to it. So what did we do? How many times do you think you saw him beating the hell out of Cassie? And I kept saying, what does this have to do with anything? Is this the film she got 10 million for? Is this the one? Okay. And this is the one who said, I love freak-offs. I also want to say something which, do not take this the wrong way, but I'm going to say this. In the Black community, and hear me out, they have been known, the collective, to respond differently to domestic violence. Domestic violence is not a rarity, sadly. It is not this earth-ending, earth-shattering aspect. Let me give you an example. During the O.J. Simpson case, Marcia Clark, first of all, the black jurors hated her. She was like the quintessential mean old nasty, kind of like Nurse Ratched white lady that they just didn't like. I'm sorry, but it's true. And she said, I'm going to prove, bear with me on this one, that O.J. Simpson, who repeatedly was violent to Nicole Brown Simpson, that naturally elevated and escalated to murder. The jury consultant said, no. As we say in the South, that dog don't hunt. In the black community, they're saying, I know exactly. I was a victim of people don't kill each other. This is unfortunately sometimes, not in all cases, but sometimes either too frequent or not uncommon. But they don't make the necessary jump that maybe a white jury might make. So what I'm saying is, My wife's doing her own. I gotta stop yelling. So what I'm saying is, when the jurors or people in the black community saw this case over and over and over, and then they found out that Cassie kept coming back, the argument could be made that in this particular uh, uh, culture, class, status, especially when you're being paid millions, this doesn't mean anything. So a bunch of white prosecutors said, we're just going to keep showing them that video. And the rest of the country is saying, we know about this. What does it? And also, Shaun, what does this have to do with anything? She wasn't beaten to keep her from leaving. She was being beaten, which is wrong, because he was pissed off or she was doing something. What was the connection? The connection wasn't that, how dare you leave and I'm going to pull you back. So that didn't make any sense. Now, remember, the jury, listen to this. The jury, this is from Manhattan, right? This is the same group of people who are predominantly Democrats who picked as a Democratic nominee this guy Zoran Mamdani, who's a commie. Anyway, so New York is crazy. These jurors are crazy. So the other day, after they're getting these notes, one guy says, "Excuse me, I don't understand the law." And they say, "What the hell is this?" I don't know where they got Borat or somebody. We don't know if he's from a different country, but they were suggesting this guy doesn't understand either English or something. I thought that's a great defense tool. Pick people who don't speak English, and then during the course of the closing argument, use every $3 word you can. He goes, "Does this make any sense? Does this in any way jibe with the perspicacity that's been explicated or expatiated so far?" I ask you. I don't know this law. What is this? So anyway, so the judge was saying, and then they wouldn't get along. Remember that they were arguing. So anyway, so then they said, this is the best part. They said, as far as the racketeering case, it's over. So they issue what is called an Allen charge. You may have heard this a million charges. An Allen charge. An Allen charge is an instruction. It's also called a shotgun charge, which says, now go back and really give it your best. And somebody would say, "Excuse me, did you not hear what we said? We can't figure out the answer. Go back." "Why are you telling me to go back? What am I, stupid? You think I'm kidding?" And Allen charge actually kind of insults them, like, "We know you don't mean this." "No, I mean this." "Go back." "You go back. Go back here." Where to go? So anyway, they go back, and sometimes they say, "Can you believe this son of a bitch telling us to go back?" Does he? We're here. Does he think we're stupid? Does he think we're just that we? It's a weird. Now remember, the Allen charge, prosecutors love it because they're saying, "Please try for a conviction." Defense lawyers say, "I want a not guilty or a hung jury." No, don't go back. So anyway, they told them, you can forget the racketeering. And I'm thinking, Jesus, not even 2 predicate acts. Like you said, serial numbers, parking ticket, nothing. And to find them guilty, to find you guilty of the predicate act, reasonable doubt, yeah, whatever. I mean, this is why they got the mob. This is why I think racketeering is one of the most unconstitutional monstrosities that's ever occurred. Because think about your organization, the Attwood Enterprise. You got this one. Somebody may have stolen something. Maybe somebody did something, but it's not a part of the collective theme, the continuity of the purpose of the Attwood Enterprise. It's 3 people doing 3 separate things who happen to be a part of what you're doing. So anyway, they didn't find one. Racketeering that's why people plead guilty to racketeering, because if I give you 100 things, I've given you 100 things. Can any of you jurors find that Shaun Attwood did any of these? Well, you got nothing. So that was done. Now, to show you how stupid these media people are, they said they've agreed on a verdict as to the other 4 or 5, because remember, it's Cassie and a Jane Doe. So there was 2 counts of the Mann Act, 2 counts of sexual trafficking, whatever. Okay. So they said, good news, they found a verdict. Or they have a verdict. I'm saying, schmuck, not guilty is a verdict. What are you talking about? They think verdict means guilty. So I'm saying, good news, bad news for him. There's a verdict. Yeah. Which one is it? It's like, do you not understand how this thing works? And the coverage, another one too is when you push, so see, I love to have a very simple case. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. I'm done. Here is a gun. This is the gun before. It's a 32 caliber Smith & Wesson. Here's afterwards. You see these numbers? They're filed off. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Find them guilty. Go home. But no, they had lube, Astro lube. You know more about the lubes than I do, Shaun. I have no idea. You know about the flavor. Don't play stupid with me. I know all about you. I know all about you. No, but the point is, Astro lube, baby oil, UTIs, all this. When I hit you with something, it's like when you tell Ziggy not to do something, which you rarely do because he's a perfect child. My God, he's. But if you give him too much information, he's saying, I don't know what the hell this guy wants me to do. I can't follow this. What do you? He told me 12 things I'm not supposed to do. Just tell me one. Don't give me all this stuff. Be very specific. Don't touch the hot stove. Got it. So what they did was these people are sitting back and they're thinking, oh my God, are we going to see this content? Every time they saw the Cassie video, it's like, oh, for the love of God, I know. Slow it down. It's like there's a Pruder film, back and to the left. We know this. Okay. I thought for sure at first, oh, I don't know if the jury can really grasp this. Oh, I think they did. I think they, in this debauch, remember, this is New York. This is where you can walk out of the courtroom, right there in Center Street, and you can, there's somebody walking around with a severed head. There's somebody nude. Because it's right where the federal court is, behind it. It's kind of like Chinatown and Little Italy and China. They've got open air gambling and Tai Chi. I mean, it's like this. This is New York, and you think you're going to hit us with baby oil? Baby oil? What is it? So they have maybe not a higher standard, but also kind of a more of a liberal kind of a. You know what I mean? It's like okay, because if I went to Valdosta, Georgia, Dothan, Alabama, they might have a hard time. They did what with baby oil? That's just perverted. Praise God. And with the death of Jimmy Swaggart, people that we lost a good one. So anyway, so all of this stuff puts together, and when the defense finally said we didn't put on any verdict, that is the ultimate F you. It's like this isn't even worth commenting on. Closing argument for what? They didn't prove anything. Sit down. Have a nice day. We trust them. Let's go ahead. Tee it up. And there's nothing worse than the prosecutor says, don't you want to rebut anything? Nope. Don't you want to put on your own? What is? Nope. Nothing? Nope. And sure as hell not Diddy. Meanwhile, Diddy's like this. Namaste. He's doing all this stuff and he's making all these signs and he's got the gray hair and he knew something. Not that this is fixed. Nobody fixed this. But he's smart enough. Let me tell you something. I have a newfound respect for him. I thought he looked like a dumbass. The guy can't close his mouth. Always walks around with his mouth like a fly's gonna go. He just looked like an idiot compared to. And by the way, he's no Jay-Z, who looks completely mentally retarded. But that's a different story. But he is the baddest. He's adjudicated a real pimp. Take that, Snoop. Take that, whoever you are, Fitty Diddy and all that. This guy's legit. He never ratted anyone out, never took the stand, did 10 months standing on his head, which is the expression when it's so easy. He said, I'll do it. And and what they're going to do now is they're going to say, we want him released pending the appeal because they're going to appeal these two Mann Act violations. And also, Judge, where's he going? You think he's going to what, escape to Bolivia? He's got 10 months under his belt. We know where you're going. He's going to sit back. Now, if he goes back and listen to this, if he plays the post, if he becomes the voice of this prison reform. Remember Chuck Colson from the Watergate days? People that go into it. Martha Stewart didn't do it. Once they go into prison and they come out, they forget all their friends, all the people that helped them from getting their ass beaten, in the shower. But if he said, I'm going to give something back. And ladies and gentlemen, This is the greatest country in the world. And if this can happen to me, don't tell me that being rich buys you a second tier of justice, because it does. Because if I was anybody else, this would have never happened. They were jealous of a black man, jealous of my success, jealous of the fact that I did everything. I dared to push against liquor companies. I dared to stand up for my rights. If I'm Warren Buffett, I'm a genius. If I'm Donald Trump, I'm a genius. But they didn't like the fact. Sorry about this freezing. I don't know what the hell is going on. But anyway, so let me see.
All right, keep speaking. We can hear you fine.
Yeah. I have this frozen face disease. So he can play this beautifully. I'm telling you right now, his PR people, whatever he does, he is, think about this. He beat the federal government of racketeering. Name one organized crime, anybody you've talked to, anybody who beat racketeering. Never. It's so easy. It's so easy. That's why they do it. He beat it. He went in, a racketeer came out a pimp, which is great. He should do what Trump did. Remember when Trump had that mugshot? That was the most, he showed you. He has a picture of it in the White House. He loves it. He has got to say, I'm a pimp. I know what I'm talking about. And I decry this. I'm not proud of this. And by the way, I feel, and he also has to apologize to the ladies, to Cassie and to whoever Jane Doe is, and to the passels of male prostitutes that I had. Maybe that was the reason for it. I want to apologize because I don't mind what they said about me, but they've accused you by virtue of this as being a prostitute. You were never a prostitute. You never. The federal government just besmirched and libeled you. They're calling you a prostitute. They said that I was your pimp. How dare they? You're respectable women. Cassie is a wonderful, he can really say that. And the federal government says, no, wait. No, you called them whores. You basically gave them the Mary Magdalene effect. Thanks a lot. And meanwhile, Jane Doe. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Jane Doe remains a Jane Doe. Look what they did to her. And so now she's been labeled and adjudicated a prostitute. She never did anything of the kind. These people have no soul. They'll do anything to win their case. I mean, this is enormous. Now, one more thing. You want to go through the list of all the folks who was it, Porter or whoever? Go down the list of all the people. I'm not saying it's close to the Hillary list of, sudden surprise.
Pneumonia.
Yeah. But like we say in the South, don't buy the green bananas. You know what I mean? Don't anticipate a life unfettered by whatever, because there's a lot of people, and God knows what testimony was presented to the feds that never made it. And see, this is in my neck of the woods. I stand for the proposition that we believe in the Constitution. The Constitution won. The Constitution that protected President Trump ultimately is now this. We have a thing in our country called lawfare, and lawfare is when I target prosecution against my enemies. Lavrenti Beria, who was Stalin's person, says, "Show me the man, I'll show you the crime." And that's what this is. So this is a beautiful day. There's so many layers to this. And I promise you, nobody on TV is going to be doing what I've told you for the past 29 minutes, because they have a 1 minute time zone. They don't have anybody who knows what they're doing. And they have somebody who is more interested in trying to burnish their reel to sell it to some agent. I'm telling you the truth. And I've always told you, let me tell you, we had a guy in this country, George Zimmerman, who killed this Trayvon Martin. This was a tragedy years ago. I don't know if you remember it. But I said on day one, he's going to walk. Oh my God, people went crazy. I said, you don't understand. I know about the stand your ground law in Florida. I was a prosecutor. The facts aren't there. He was acquitted, as I predicted. Remember Casey Anthony? With her daughter? Day one, I said, they're going to find her not guilty. Why? Because they found a skull. We don't even know the cause of death. Remember the 4 types of death: NASH, natural, accidental, suicide, homicide, and undisclosed. It was a skull. We didn't know she died. We can't even go to step 2. Of course she killed him, but you can't prove it. People went crazy, crazy. So, and so it goes on and on. My position is not, it's not what I want, but it's what I know to be true. And there's some things that people forget. Let me say this one final thing, and then I'll let you. I know you're dying to get a word in here. But by the way, I'm a dream come true. You sit there like this. By the way, this picture right here you're seeing of Shaun, this is actually a loop. He's in the next, he's getting his car washed. He's not even here. If they charged Diddy with arson, take all the facts of the case, arson, he'd be found not guilty. Why? Because there's no fire. Not that he's a good guy, not that he's women. If they charged him with murder, he'd have to be found not guilty because there's no murder. It's not, do we like him? We'll make the facts fit the charge. What we say in this country is, so you think it's great that this dirtbag got off? Yeah, because there was no evidence of the crime. Yes. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, better that 1,000 people, guilty people, walk free than one innocent man be convicted. And that's supposedly the way it is. And I don't have to tell you about your country or others as well, but when the justice system goes, that's it. See, this is the final bulwark, the buffer between a kind of a rogue sovereign and the people. It's the only thing. It's where people get off the street and they say, oh, no. Oh, no. This is, we have the grand jury system, which is a joke, and a petty jury, which is what this is. And you've got people off the street who last week did nothing. They were just regular folks, or 2 weeks ago, or 9 weeks ago. And now they're basically, they stopped. They told the federal government, no, and I mean, bitch slapped them. Pardon my French. Not racketeering, nothing. And the piddliest case they threw on and go, we need one more. Mann Act. It's also called the white slavery statute. They got Jack Johnson, the black boxer, R. Kelly, Chuck Berry, all black, by the way. Famous cases of that. It's the most, this is a century old. Crossing state lines with prostitutes? What? Oh, this is incredible.
Right, folks. While Lionel gathers his breath, let me just give a quick summary and we will go over to your questions. Lots of questions have come in. So the summary is, as Lionel called it, prosecutorial overreach. They didn't get any of the main charges. Did he beat those? We got 2 minor charges of the transportation of the people of the night across the state lines. Now the media's got this hyperbolic headline that if Diddy gets the super aggravated max and they run each charge after the other, that's a maximum of 20 years. If they run them together, it's a maximum of 10 years. And the most asked question right now is, what does Lionel think he's going to get? So
okay,
you've got to look what the presumptive is. What is the kind of average sentence of these? And then you got Diddy's back time taken off. I'm going to guess that Diddy's going to do a couple of years.
12 to 15 months, something like that, minus 10 months for credit for time served. When you are in jail and you're not allowed out and you're being held because they won't give you a bail, but you're there, you get a day-for-day credit. Now, in the federal system, we don't have parole. You have a presumptive sentence. You do basically 85% of whatever it is you get. But before, and they always say, every case, if something is, let's say, some statutes have a maximum of life, some have a maximum, sometimes of, like treason is punishable by death. It's not going to get the death penalty. I don't know about you, but if you have in the UK a speeding ticket, the maximum is a year in the jail. Well, nobody gets a year, but that's the maximum. In our country, misdemeanors, all misdemeanors are punishable by up to a year in the county jail. This is state level. Felonies are anything over a year. That's it. So if I decide in some states, for example, if you steal a fire extinguisher, it's a felony. If you steal 1,000 pieces of oranges, it's a felony. If you steal a cow, it's a felony because we say it is. Now, nobody has ever done a year for stealing, a fire extinguisher. But if you wanted to, theoretically, the maximum you could ever give somebody is 5 years. Though nobody has ever, so there always is a maximum to this. There is a, and people forget this, the only thing that makes something a crime, and again, I can only speak for here, is that it theoretically presents itself as a possibility of jail or incarceration as a penalty. If there's no chance of jail, it's not a crime. It's a civil infraction, an infraction. Speeding in our country is not a crime. You cannot possibly go to jail or prison. Remember, misdemeanor for jail, prison for felonies, at all. Aggravated or reckless driving, you can. DWI, drink driving, or whatever you call it. So these are just rudimentary things. So what the judge is going to do is he's going to look at this. Remember, federal judges don't care. Plus, the judge recognizes the fact that he looks like the biggest jerk, even though they're appointed for life. Federal judges never run for re-election. They are in for life, but they have a reputation. So here's this judge who's going to say, I've got this piece of crap case that obviously the jury said, and I'm going to pound him on Mann Act violations? No, I look like I'm part of the feds. He's going to say, no, if that's all you've got, I'm going to look at this as if it were all its own, because it is. It's all its own. It's all they have. He's going to look at the sentencing guidelines. You've seen it. It's a piece of paper, and they just fill in a blank. You start adding, you just check mark, and you turn it over. You got 100 to 135. You turn it over, 12 to 15 years, or 12 to 15 months, let's say. First-time offender, never been arrested, never violated parole, no violence in this case. Remember, Mann Act. Forget before, there was no violence in this supposed transportation. There were no firearms involved. Maybe, because remember, whatever you think about in the background doesn't matter, because that wasn't the subject of the adjudication. You're gonna have, you can't read into it. You can't say, yeah, but I know other facts. No, it doesn't work like that. So the judge is going to say this and say, based upon this, he sends the information to the prison system, the probation offices, these folks who review it, and they interview people. They interview the prison. They look at what's the most feasible. He lives in New York or lives in California. What's near? They did it with Martha Stewart. They did it with Ghislaine. What's nearby? What would best suit him? Minimum security, medium security. What would be the most? And they do all these calculations, and they'll tell him, okay, 12 a year. All of this already considering 10 months a knockoff. He is going to be the rock star because he did his time. It's almost better. We love the fact Suge Knight will never see the light of day, most probably. I don't know what the sentence is, but probably I think he's going to have a hard time. So this guy went, he kept his mouth shut. He's a convicted felon. I don't know what that does to his musical career. He never ratted anybody out. He's bigger, badder than ever. Can you imagine his story? Who gets the first interview? Who gets the first interview?
He's going to parlay this whole thing now to take his career to the next level. And my understanding is because the bigger charges he was found innocent of, they were the charges that could have enabled the government to liquidate his assets. So now he gets to keep all his assets as well?
Yes. And what he does is, let me tell you my story. I started off with this and this. At my height, and I'll tell you right now, I was worth whatever $1 million. They came after me. And remember, this is what I would tell to my audience. Who is his audience? You and me? No. I would say, this is what happens to a black man who acts uppity, who dares to become too successful. They came after me. They came after me because it killed them to see how successful I was. All of my money. I've got my family. I never asked the government for anything. Everything I did, I made. And they wanted to go after it and take it. I lost this contract. They wanted my work. And all these vultures, they wanted to buy my catalog or buy my whatever it is. And they, baby oil ad, indeed. That thing is let me tell you something. I know people, somehow he's going to do, he can't mock that, obviously. But anyway, let me finish. So he'll just say, this is my story. I'm now fighting for my life, for my children. I've got mortgage, this legal defense. What am I charged with? This has hit me with millions and millions of dollars. Great legal team. I don't begrudge them. What did I do? The government doesn't pay anything. They go back to work. They go back to work and I've got to go back to work. And now watch what happens. My community is going to either turn their back on me. Am I radioactive? Are they going to come to my defense? Did you see anybody come to a court that day to help me? Nope. They did the same thing to Alec Baldwin. Remember Alec Baldwin? Nothing. If Alec Baldwin was Martin Scorsese or Ron Howard or Clint Eastwood, they would have been outside. I was abandoned by everybody because they wanted to see me fail. Not only the government, but my competitors. Because the only way you're going to derail me, the only way is for you to grind me. And you didn't do it. You didn't get away with it. I beat you. And I'm bigger and badder. And you know who I have to ask for that? My fans, the people, the citizens. Let me tell you something. God bless the USA. He should just. And also embrace, do this one. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to go nuts. I'm going to say, and you know what? I understand what President Trump goes through now. I understand it. We may not see eye to eye politically, but I never understood what persecution meant. And if they can go after the President of the United States and get nothing, and me, who's next? Now, the only reason you know about me is because I'm famous. But when they go after you, you're not going to have the platform I have. What's wrong with this country? What's wrong? We say we're the best country in the world. Are we really? I mean, this is just, and watch what happens. Watch the Harvey Levins and watch all these people who basically wanted him. They wanted him crushed because they're vultures. They're sick, sadistic jackals they're like vultures. They look for carrion. They circle the injured and the wounded. And they have no interest whatsoever in justice. And they're lawyers, supposedly. There's no, and then you have this stupid media coverage with all these two-bit, half-baked nincompoops who never tried a case in their life, who come out and basically say, I'm going to be a pro-law enforcement commentator or a pro-defense commentator. Kind of like the Geraldo Riveras of that. Diddy will be gliding on a prism. Is that I think you know what you're talking about that one.
The two most common questions you're getting asked now, Lionel, are: can he get out on bail bond right away? And how long will it take before he has his actual sentencing hearing?
Okay. Can he get out? Absolutely. I think it is probably, remember, the federal judge is going to say, oh, come on. All right, Mr. Combs, you can go. Wear an ankle bracelet. Here, give me your passport. Remember they went after his plane. They said he was going to take off. He ain't going nowhere. Why would he leave? Shaun, he's a hero. Whatever, if he does an hour is icing on the cake. He's hardcore. He did hard time. Whatever. He's not going to leave. He's got his family here. He's about to be on the verge of a deal of his life. No. So the judge will say, maybe a week, maybe I'll make sure the Bureau of Prisons and the probation services will make sure they'll check out where you're going to say, yeah, you can go home. And you're going to have the overhead shot of the caravan like we did with a slow speed chase with OJ. He's going to be home. And then he's going to be with his family. And then you're going to sell pictures. Is it going to be Daily Mail? Who gets his homecoming when he walks into the door with his mama? How about that mother? Eh? Anyway, he goes home and they're all his favorite meals and they're toasting and they're hugging. Who gets those pictures? All those deals are being made now. This is the biggest thing. Let's face it. Remember, before Diddy, did you really care about him? No, he was almost like a counterfeit hip-hop. He was like a mogul, but he wasn't in the Jay-Z category. He just wasn't, badass. He wasn't, Elon Musk. He was more like Warren Buffett. Big, but not. But so all of that's so the judge realizes he ain't going to make that money if he skips. I told the judge flat, he's out of his mind. So one thing this man is a businessman. And for him to skip, where's he going to go? Belize? I don't think so. He stays here. He is going to revel. And he's also going to have, I hope he does, a program where he has an outreach program, a foundation to help people who've been in prison start businesses. There's a there was a place in Philadelphia. It's a pizza joint. Everybody's an ex-con. Things like that. He'll be a hero. It depends how how legit does he want to go? Because remember, these people go in. Samuel Bankman-Fried, everybody else, they go in, they don't come out. It's like the Roach Motel. They don't come out. Nobody gets a. Who was acquitted last time? Think of somebody. Who was acquitted? Anybody? Nobody. In federal court? Nobody. And let me tell you something. Within the annals of the prosecutors, you brought this case and you got an acquittal. You can't get a racketeering. Shaun, I could prosecute Ziggy on racketeering and get at least one predicate act of something. This is a humiliation. So answer is he will be out, ankle bracelet, whatever. He'll say, fine, whatever it is. He'll be making his money selling the pictures. Now, the appeal. Oh my God, the appeal could take forever. Like 2 years, 3 years, 5. They're going to appeal the Mann Act only. Remember, under the Fifth Amendment, the prosecution cannot appeal a conviction. You got one bite of the apple. We have this thing is prohibition against double jeopardy. Can't be tried twice for the same offense, even though you can be tried in state court and then in federal court for virtually the identical. That's different, which is bull. But anyway, so he will appeal the Mann Act. Can you imagine if he gets that reverse on appeal? And then when you go and you make the application for bond, one of the considerations a judge has is how likely is your success on appeal? If the judge grants a bond, he's basically saying, I think he's going to be successful. One more thing. At the end of the state's case, at the end of the government's case, at the end of the trial, the defense makes a motion for a judgment of acquittal. You can renew, it's always denied. You can renew that later on. Theoretically, the court, the court on its own could vacate the judgment, grant a new trial, revert on its own, and say, I know they came back with that, but looking at this thing, they could do that, or let it go to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals for appellate. So there's all kinds of stuff that can still be done. Federal judges don't care about popular opinion. Not at all. Nothing. They don't care about it because remember, they're appointed for life. They have nothing to worry about. They do what they want. Plus, it's their mystique. They're brave and they're ruthless. So he's going to get out, guaranteed. This case is going bye-bye, either on appeal or something, because the case is ridiculous. I guess you could say, yeah, he traveled, whatever. But are they prostitutes? If they put Cassie on the stand and said, did you know you were a prostitute? Did you know Diddy brought you, I guess, from New York to New Jersey, or I guess crossing state lines, so you could be a prostitute? Do you know that? Did you? And I was not a prostitute. Well, you have to be, because he basically is your pimp. I don't think enough's been made of that, because she's like this very classy woman. She does her thing, she's trying to turn her life around, and she's now, he's adjudicated a pimp, and she's adjudicated, and Jane Doe. God, now you know why she's Jane Doe. Who needs this crap? So it's.
Could they still charge him with something else, for example, the defaced guns? Or would that be double jeopardy now because it's predicate act within what was he was already charged?
I think the argument, if it's a completely different charge and a completely different set of circumstances and a completely different, theoretically, but even they say that's enough to go from racketeering and then say, oh, by the way, we're going to pick you up. Or to have maybe a state charge. Let's say the state of California, presuming the statute of limitations hasn't run. I mean, listen, no prosecutor wants to get near this thing and say, this is a dog. It is radioactive. You saw what happened when the federal government, I was recently thinking today, I was listening to a Joe Rogan, and he had on Joe Pistone and the commission case and this case and that case and all these hundreds of people he testified, and all these people went down, and Fat Tony and Tony Ducks and all these people in Persico and Oh, guilty, 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 guilty. And there's Diddy, walks away. It's unscathed. It's just, wow. Nobody ever, you don't walk away from racketeering, but he did. I mean, it is that serious. Now, the way I'm telling you this right now, they would hate this on TV because it sounds like I'm behind him or because I must act law and orderish. And if ever you want to see like really bad, I don't know if you ever watch this, but watch like CNN, bunch of constipated ne'er-do-wells sitting around, really not even discussing what this really means. It's like they play this. Let's wear a tie. Let's repeat this nonsense as though we're shocked. It's like, no, I've been saying from day one, these are the wrong charges. It's nothing brilliant on my part to say, why are you charging him with that? No, this is ridiculous. Sometimes, remember, you got to go for a lesser offense. That's strong. Filing you want somebody who says, okay, I did it. Did you file the serial numbers? Yes. Presuming there's evidence of that. And this is, now imagine what happens to the Busbys and what happens to all these other people and what happens to all these civil cases. You want to go after him again? After this? Just the name? Shaun, did he go again? Again? Even though you'll say, excuse me, this has nothing to do with a civil action, a lawsuit. This has nothing to do with that. Just the name of it is like, oh, for the love of God, leave the man alone. When you get that kind of momentum, those cases will never be in court. Nobody's going to settle anything because it's almost as though the court, as a matter of fact, almost a matter of res judicata, so that they almost officially denied there is nothing there. There is nothing there. He did nothing that you said he did. Racketeering, sexual exploitation, sexual trafficking, or trafficking, forced fraud, coercion, nothing. It's brutal. And I got to say this one more time. How many times did you say, well, they've got a verdict? And nobody asked him, but a verdict could be an acquittal. I can't believe how many people never came up one time. And I said, am I the only one here who's, where have you been? That's not good. It's like, Shaun, I've got the results and your tumor has changed. Thanks, doctor. Thank you. Wait a minute. What do you mean it's changed? Has it gotten smaller? Has it gotten more? Is it worse? I need more information than you have a verdict. I need more information than it's changed. You know what I mean? People they don't have the critical thinking skills to just go a step further and say, wait. What are we talking about? And I would have, and when he dropped to his knees. I mean, let me ask you this. I don't know if you want to do this, but don't you feel sorry for him? At this point, don't you feel like, this is enough? I don't like the guy, but to put him through this, I do. I feel sorry for him. Now, if I feel sorry for him and I'm not there, imagine taking, 7 weeks of your life out to hear this crap, and you're looking at him and you're saying, and don't think that doesn't play a role in this. And don't think that, you know what Friday is? July 4th. We kicked your ass. And our birthday, July 4th, the 4th of July. A lot of people are saying, it's a long weekend. I got some plans. Now let's wrap this thing up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't think that. No, I'm serious. Don't think that didn't play a role in accelerating justice, And who of this group is going to write the book now, too? They're on the phone talking to because there's complete freedom to talk to Harvey Levin. By the way, there's no money anymore in this, but nobody's going to read a book because people don't read. But wouldn't you like to know what went on? What people thought? Like, when did it go south? What did the jurors think? How they hated each other? Who's this dude who doesn't speak English? That's what I want to know. How did he slip in? I want to know more, maybe from a lawyer's point of view, kind of what happened, who sat down, and who led the charge. When did you first vote? When did you first know this? Because remember, when you're a juror, you go into that jury room and you say, okay, there's no rules. what do? You want to take a vote? Okay. It's up to you. How many vote for guilty? Oh, none. Okay, well, that was easier. Let's go to the next. Because remember, nobody tells them what to do. And you can't impeach a verdict, meaning you can't go back and change a verdict, as long as there's no evidence of some kind of chicanery, drawing by lot. That's not good. Having a hat with the vote, can't do that, or a dartboard. Short of that, nobody knows what jurors do. I still don't know. What do they do? How do you start? Who picks? Did you argue? You've seen 12 Angry Men. I think a lot of times it's pretty much, and then you have these conflicts. And if you've ever been in any group, there's nothing like being in a jury, because all of a sudden this is your new family, and you have a pin in a juror. You get away. People look at you like, well, there's a jury. And you're part of it, and you have a marshal that follows you around and kind of keeps an eye on you. Okay. And then you realize once you get in, the personalities, maybe you've not liked somebody before. Maybe somebody's gotten your nerves. Who knows? There's always a problem. But that's the beauty of the human, the calculus of this. We don't know any. I'd love to know how that started. And what was the evidence that made you say, eh?
A few quick questions have come up that I think you can answer. That won't take long to answer. And they are, what's your estimate on how much Diddy spent on legal fees? What's the Fed spent on legal fees? And what happens to the Freakoff tapes? Do they get handed back to Diddy now, or did they get destroyed? Or
Excellent question. Millions of dollars for him. Millions. I don't even know how much. 10, 5, 10, who knows? Federal teams, paralegals, research, motions. Oh my God. Federal government, we don't care about that because we're the taxpayer. They've got FBI. They've got legions of investigators. And now, so who knows? It's going to be millions for him. You talk about the tape, which is interesting. If this is something that is construed as, let's say, obscene, because, for example, let's say it was children, like CSAM, child sexual abuse material, it will never be turned back. Guns are never given back if they're deemed to be improper. Guns that are used, and normally you don't say, excuse me, Judge, can we get those tapes back? Why? I don't know. I have a hobby, nostalgia. But I think unless there's been a formal adjudication that somehow they have violated something, were they made consensually? Do any of the participants have a cause of action against Diddy for intercepting private communications? That's the federal statute. Who knows? Barring that, yeah, that's yours. We took this from you. Those are your, can I seize your orgy tapes? Imagine the forklift we would need to have that. But there is nothing wrong with having films of consensual adults doing consensual things. Nothing against it. That's why I said before, if from now on people signed an NDA and said, we are going to upload this to Pornhub or something, you're not being a part of an orgy. You're being part of a production. And in this production, we're going to be doing, think about that. You've waived any and all rights. You claim you're over the age of whatever, not that that matters, and it changes the complexion of everything. Don't think people aren't going to do that.
Viewers put a 1 in the chat. Do you think the best thing to come from the Diddy case was meeting Lionel and all of our collaborations with Lionel? And if you look back at some of the most iconic moments when we had Jaguar Wright, Courtney Burgess, Ariel.
Some of the moments, and I'm not going to mention this, but
all banned.
Oh yeah, well, I'm thinking, what is going on here? I mean, who? And I didn't even know. I felt I didn't know who some of these people were. There was one guy, remember, there was somebody who was missing. Remember, they go, where is he? Well, we've located him, and I don't know what happened, if they arrested him or whatever. And I'm thinking, I don't know about this Attwood show. What the hell is going on? Who are these people? Then there were people who were reliving one who was shot at a club and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I had like sometimes when I would hook up with you, you wouldn't say, "Oh, by the way, we're going to be putting you on with 3 lunatics." All of a sudden, I see 3 people say, "Who's this?" And I would listen, and I think, "Oh my God!" At one time, I think I said, "Gotta go." I didn't know who these people were, and you, of course, you just love it because I still don't know what they were talking about. Think about Tony. Think about Busby. All those cases, hundreds. Remember that? Hundreds. What about those cases? What are you gonna do with that? I mean, this was the wildest. And you also had some wonderful moments with some of your fellow compatriots and co-workers, which I still don't know what that was about. I don't understand that in the least. And I'm thinking, okay, fair enough. Remember the psychic and the spiritual, and this. I'm thinking, stop.
It has been entertaining to say the least, my friend. Viewers, please subscribe to his baby Ziggy again. Subscribe to Lionel at his channel. I've just put it in the live chat.
Now,
it's in the description box.
Now, Ziggy,
even Ziggy's subscribing.
Now, listen, Ziggy, now, son, now your dad is crazy. Your dad is crazy, but don't mean he's a bad man. He's a good man. And one day when you got your college paid for, it's because of these crazy people that did it. You see, Ziggy, your daddy's coming on 1 million views. I know. That's my boy exactly. And believe me, your father you may say, who are these people he's talking to half the time? But ultimately, you're going to hear it all this. Because I tell you what, half the time he don't know what the hell he's talking about.
You know, we have to take him for dinner. Thank you, my friend.
He makes more sense than half of your guests.
We will see you next time, Lionel. Much love from England. Cheers. Take care. Thank you, viewers. Please support Lionel. Subscribe. His links are in the description. We will see you next time. Oh, we've got Epstein's niece, Anya Wick, tomorrow at what time was it, Ziggy? I think 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock.